As the sun rises over Little Big Planet, we are made witness to glistening landscapes, rolling buffalo, ferociously frozen beasties, and whatever those things are. And at the centre of this complex, crafty ecosystem, we will find one of nature's most interesting and sack-like of creatures, the aptly named Sackboy. A fully grown Sackboy is a bit of a squirt, at 8 centimetres high. He overcomes his tininess by employing his opposable thumbs, or grabbing the heads of cheetahs, because bold as they are, Sackboys rarely think things through. The Sackboy greets each day with vim, vigour and verticality, and treats his environment as his own personal playground, whilst sometimes the environment tends to treat Sackboy as its latest victim. The Sackboy, and lest we not forget Sack Girls, are adventurous and not prone to distraction. They are devoted to a perennial march to the right. They're also masters of verticality. What is the secret of their jumping skills? Timing, mastering momentum, and being very careful not to leap when one should hop, and vice versa. A perfectly executed jump is an impressive achievement, and it'll often prompt the Sackboy to engage in his traditional shaking of its posterior. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about the wily Sackboys and Sack Girls is their ability to drastically alter their appearance. They do this willingly in an effort to stay on the cutting edge of sack fashion, or to fit in at Mardi Gras. Once night falls on Little Big Planet, out come the creatures that make Sackboy nervous. At any moment he can come face to face with these natural predators, usually recognised by the googly eyes and tendency to want Sackboy killed. The Sackboy has good reason to be wary. If provoked, these creatures can easily inflict a mortal wound, but each one has an Achilles heel, an external brain. It should be targeted and crushed. Yes, patience pays off, and this round goes to Sackboy. When they aren't acting out, Sackboys and Sack Girls are always acting up, and perhaps it's simply because they can. After all, Little Big Planet belongs to the Sack people, leaving their mark wherever they go. On our next visit to Little Big Planet, we'll take a closer look at the cooperation and competition present in packs of Sackboys. Till then, play nice. Little Big Planet is a living world full of fun and adventure, a landscape that is as small as it is wide. It is also the home of the deeply intelligent Sack people. Sackboys and Sack Girls treat much of their time as playtime. However, playful is not synonymous with lazy. What drives them is their desire to adventure alone or in a pack, like wolves or gum. But what makes them truly unique is their sense of adaptability. When they are on the move, nothing can stand in their way, not even a giant blue monkey. Here we see a Sack Girl failing to negotiate a series of obstacles. Now witness two Sack people working in tandem to traverse the same terrain. When collaborating, they can exert more force on simple objects, moving and tossing them about to suit their needs. Here we see two Sack people making love. The Sackboy is perhaps nature's most evolved hunter-gatherer. Much like how a squirrel or an insane asylum will obsessively collect nuts, Sackboys will collect lustrous bubbles. Throughout history, bubbles have been passionately sought after by kings and queens. Interestingly, when the Sackboy collects bubbles in quick succession, their value multiplies. A pack of Sackboys and girls will compete to see who can collect more bubbles in an area than others. This creates an intense competition dynamic amongst the pack. Retention can get so great that some are known to actually hit the sack. But that's what makes the pack of Sackboys simply fascinating. Sack people will climb to the top of the highest hill just to prove they can. They will also seek out every unexplored corner and hard-to-reach ledge for stickers, construction materials, and, of course, wardrobe accessories. There is a dark side to Little Big Planet, however. The Sackboy must endure and overcome many environmental hazards. Death, sadly, is part of life. And when the Sackboy fails, it is an epic fail. When faced with seemingly insurmountable obstacles, the Sackboy will stop at nothing to achieve his goal, rearranging and tearing down the environment, redesigning objects, utilising vehicles, dressing in women's clothing. There are many traditional and improvised events that occur within the pack. Observe these speedy Sackboys competing in a timed race. This Sackgirl would rather play a game of jump rope than to explore, while this Sackboy has developed a knack for miniature golf. Or is that miniature golf? What can we learn from our time with the Sackboys and girls? Too often human adults devalue the act of play. But to these tiny titans, life is fun, and everything in between is just menus, which can also be played in. On our next trip to Little Big Planet, we examine the amazing feats of Sackboy builders as they create their own playground. Little Big Planet is a wide, wondrous world, the denizens of which are always on the move. Playing, collecting, adventuring. A moment of reflection, however, begs the question, how did this all get here? The mischievous Sack people are not just residents of this wacky world, they also help to build it. They are natural architects who love to create when they're too pooped from playing. The Sackboy is empowered by his puppet tool, a fascinating adaptation, his seemingly magic wand. Through the puppet tool, Sackboy can get to his goodie bag of tricks. Observe as he pops it and instant goodies. This bag houses many types of cardboard, metal, stone and wood materials, like wood. Each material has its own physical properties. Stone is obviously much heavier than cardboard, and sponges can be gripped, whereas most materials cannot. There are also some rare elements with strange special properties, like buoyant bubbles. This Sack Girl is building platforms out of dark matter, which will float indefinitely, as if to say Isaac Newton was full of hooey. Creating objects and shaping shapes is fast and fun, like Michelangelo chiseling away at stone to uncover the David hidden underneath. The Sackboy will carve, scale and rotate his materials to his liking. The most advanced creators will make full use of items in their tool bag. Sack people love to tweak out motors, pistons and propulsion devices, creating some very cool rides. Another one of the wondrous possibilities made possible with the tool bag is the ability to trigger things to move, emitters to shoot, and explosive things to, well, explode. Without supports, items will observe the natural laws of nature, although they can be temporarily suspended in mid-air through the pause command. But what if Sackboy makes a mistake, you may ask? Well, Sack people can rewind or fast-forward accidents away. In order to create a truly exhilarating experience, an element of danger must be present. Handpicked from the periodic tables of the elements of danger, Sack people can lethalize objects, setting them aflame, charging them full of high-voltage electricity, or simply letting out some killer gas. The Sackboy will also make use of pre-made enemies, or whip up some fresh baked ones. It's up to the creator to define the enemy artificial intelligence from aggressive to apathetic, or just downright pathetic. Before it's time to play, final touches are added, including the addition of stickers and decorations. Even using the PlayStation Eye for a special touch of flair. The level is almost complete. Sackboy places his spawn points, starting and ending gates, and checks his hair. Now to the fun part. Sackboy invites his friends over to go wild in this newly created world. In addition to playing together, the Sack people can also work together, simultaneously rebuilding and redesigning these ever-expanding worlds. Bravo! On our final visit to LittleBigPlanet, we'll show you where these completed levels go as we observe the act of sharing the Sack People communities. Communication is an adaptation that helps all of nature's animals prosper. This is no different for the expressive Sack People who socialise in packs. These creatures are far from territorial, imbued with an innate communal desire to share. You see, when LittleBigPlanet feels more little than big, a Sack person can hop into his or her own pod to discover an entire community filled with wonderful creatures, potential playmates, and fellow creators. Previously, we witnessed the wonders of Sackboy creation. Sack People builders are not content to simply create for themselves. They yearn to share their creations, letting them loose to experience the fun, the joy, and, well, to potentially make them superstars. Back in the pod, this Sackboy is preparing his level to be shared. He writes a description of his masterpiece and chooses or creates a fitting patch. Once shared, Sack People from all over the world will begin to discover and explore this fascinating new space. But what does Sackboy do when he wants to explore other Sack People creations? The sheer number of amazing creations may be daunting to a Sack person, but navigating through the bustling community is a snap. The Sackboy can travel through the pod in search of new and exciting patches and adventure. Here we see Sackboy search through recent and popular patches. Sackboy can even search for new adventures based on his particular mood, from annoying to absolutely brilliant. Sackboy will note the comments and tags left by previous visitors, and after exploring a patch, may even leave a comment of his own. It is the polite thing to do, after all. Sackboy may wish to return to this patch soon. An emotional bunch, Sack People will wear their love on their sleeve and pin their heart to any levels that tickle their particular fancy. The heart marks familiar and favourite surroundings. The pod can access the info moon that tracks Sackboy's online identity. This profile keeps an accounting of how many levels Sackboy has played, created, and shared. However, the fun of play is simply not enough of an incentive for some, which is why playing shared levels is a productive way to collect and earn specially crafted, unique items, characters, and vehicles made by others in the community. A Sackboy loves and lives to expand his inventory, making friends along the way. Sack People will invite other fellow adventurers to their pod so they can explore and play as a pack, collecting and competing for scoreboard supremacy. As you have seen in our visit to LittleBigPlanet, the possibilities present in this world are infinite, and designers come in many different flavours. Some Sack People excel at crafting small, detailed objects, while others will try to build the biggest, most complicated constructions they can dream up. So I encourage you to jump into the world of LBP and help create the next big thing. Or at least slap the bugger who does.